Hey you guys, it's Irene Lyon, and I had this grand plan today to come for a walk, which I did in this beautiful park, which is just in the city limits of Vancouver. I brought my tripod, kept it with me, and then I got here and I realized that my camera doesn't have the attachment that puts onto the tripod so it can stay steady, and this camera is way too heavy for me to hold like this and will be shaky. So I'm gonna head home, and then I want to talk about meditation today, and it is becoming a hot topic. People are projecting that it's going to explode like yoga, and I think this is very important, and I think we need to understand a few elements about why we need to meditate currently in our Western world, and what some of the things are that we need to be very aware of when we go into this practice. And then at the very end of this, I'm going to do something that I've never done before. I'm going to attach a audio exercise that I have called Basic Orientation. Many of my students have said that they prefer this to classic meditation. I'm not saying that I'm better than anyone else, but it's just experience. It's what I have been told from people who have tried to meditate in the more classic ways that are taught. So I'm gonna head home, and I will see you there in a second. So meditation, this has become a hot topic, and it is popping up everywhere. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I was just listening to one where they were talking about it. It was Lewis Howes, his podcast, The School of Greatness, and he was talking to the founder of Headspace, which is an app that has blown up. Apparently they have 6 million subscribers or users, and I loved the interview. It was really good, and I am picky when it comes to meditation and how people teach it, and Andy is great, and I'd love to meet him. So I'm going to try to get this video in front of him, maybe in front of Lewis. But the reason I'm really passionate about this topic is because many of my clients that come and see me, they have trouble meditating. They've tried and they can't. And then we work with that because of usually chronic stress, trauma, all sorts of things that have gone on in their world, and it's really hard for them to go into their body and feel even their mind. It isn't even about the fact that there's thoughts in there and crazy thinking, it's that their bodies have not been a safe place to be. Just the other day, I had a client of mine who was a yoga practitioner, was in a yoga teacher training, and when they started to do the meditation component, she said, I hated it. It was like being locked in a dark room with an angry man at me screaming, and she said it was just horrible. Here's the interesting thing. Because we have so much chaos, not only just in our world, but internally as a result of chronic stress and living in a complex world, our insides are kind of like this. But what happens is when we go into a meditation space, we're sort of forcing ourselves to be like this. So we end up with this sort of paradox, and then as Andy actually talks about in this podcast, we think that something is wrong with us, that we're not good at it, that this must be stupid. But here's the thing, if we think about this, 10,000 years ago, we did not live in these houses. We did not have computers, cameras, tripods. Food did not come from a grocery store. We did not get into planes and travel thousands and thousands of feet above the earth. We were on the ground, on the dirt with our family. We were nomads, and then we started to domesticate our plants and our animals, and we started to live in huts and in structures where we couldn't roam in the same way. And so started the shift of the human condition into what then became eventually an industrialized society. And then that just, for lack of a better word, screwed it all up for our internal biology. I actually love technology. I think that what's happening is wonderful, but we need to also move ahead with this technology in our body space, in our mind space, in our head space, in a way that is much more skillful and intelligent. So this is where I think meditation and mindfulness is really good that it's exploding, because it's tuning people in. We're getting into this frequency of knowing we need to do something to change this, because as we're seeing with the complexity of the world and the chronic stressors, we are getting sick. And I won't go through all the lists of what it is that's happening to us, but I'm going to assume that you understand there's a lot of chronic illness, mental illness, physiological illnesses, mysterious illnesses that people can't figure out. People are stuck, people are in fear, all that kind of thing. So if I go back to this topic of meditation, and I'm going to parallel it to something. I came from a fitness background. I was a personal trainer, exercise rehab specialist. My degrees were in exercise science. I had to rehab my body after numerous knee surgeries from ski racing and skiing. And what happens sometimes when people, not sometimes, a lot of the time when people go into fitness, and this has happened, fitness has become hot. It's become a good explosion. People understand that they need to be active. But people go into fitness and they're like, I'm going to do my exercise routine 3 days a week for 30 minutes or 5 days a week for 60 minutes. But then they don't take the stairs, right? They take the escalator things that are flat when they're at the airport. They don't walk to the grocery store. They don't ride their bike to the markets. I'm generalizing. So we've compartmentalized our lifestyle behaviors into exercise and meditation and all these things. And I think that we needed to do that as an initial outburst to get people moving. Same with meditation and mindfulness. We need to have things like the Headspace app, which I actually tried out, by the way, and I'm a picky person when it comes to mind-body exercises, and I really appreciated the realness and the connection that Andy makes with not just the head, but the body and the environment. He brings all the senses in, so I do recommend you check it out. But the practices are just the first step. We need to start with the practices first. But then we have to bring it into our life. It isn't enough to just sit still for 10 minutes and feel and then go off into our world and not bring that awareness on board. I was watching an interview with Anderson Cooper and John Kabat-Zin. This was years ago. And he said to Anderson in the interview, if a person thinks they have to sit still to meditate, they're missing the whole point. So I agree with him wholeheartedly, completely, but I do think that we have to start with a practice first, and then we have to do the practicing of bringing it in to our lives all the time. Next piece, trauma. Because of our industrial world, many of us just have low-level trauma because we have shut down our internal body because of the chaos outside. We have done this collectively as a culture, and we need to come out of that shutdown, out of that freeze response. Many of us are in fight-flight response. All you have to do is look at the political situation in the United States right now. People are angry, and for good reason. But we need to have this awareness that we are in these biological threat responses, and they're killing us, they're hurting us. It's not enabling us to engage with our higher brains. We are coming at things from a reactive mode rather than a compassionate, active mode. And then we have just the way that we've educated our children, the way we discipline them with praise and punishment. That is traumatic. And then these kids grow up to be adults who cannot feel, and then they have trouble meditating. So it's this big, big cycle. I could give many, many examples, but we have to also understand how the world, the environment has affected our physiology. We're not that caveman anymore that that is just there with his family and living life. We're much more complex now, and we need to move forward, I believe, with the complexity and match it with the intricacies in which we learn mindfulness and meditation and mind-body practices. It isn't just enough to go to the class, be there for 30 minutes, and then leave. I think it's important. I know it's important, but we need to become more skillful in our daily lives. For example, I'm standing here right now, I'm feeling my feet. I can feel that my breath is a little short because I'm seeing that my battery is flashing and this is going to cut out really soon. I'm aware of these things, right? Many people don't engage and keep awareness on their body. That's my desire for you, is to take it one step further. So what I've done after this, I'm going to add in one of my kind of favorite exercises, neurosensory exercises that my clients and students do. It's called basic orientation. It's very similar to what Andy taught when he took Lewis through a few-minute meditation in that podcast I just mentioned. So what I would love is for you to try out this basic orientation that I'm going to attach to the end of this vlog. Give it a try. Give yourself the 10 minutes to feel yourself and connect with your environment, connect with yourself, and then see if you can maintain that level of awareness, self-awareness, as you go on into your day. And then what I would love is for you to come back and comment, whether you're watching this on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, if you're getting this in email from my list. I want to hear from you. I would love to hear, have you tried to meditate and has it been difficult? Are you guilty of having a practice, going to that practice, but then when you go into your normal life, you lose all those skills? I want to know. Let me know. I think it's important that we start these conversations because we've finally planted the seed. We're in the embryonic phase of waking up to the stressors, the complexities. We are complex and we have so much potential to take it so much further, but we have to understand how our trauma affects this process and how we are just not living hunter-gatherer anymore. As much as we try to be paleo and go to CrossFit and do all these swings with kettlebells, all great. I do them myself. But we need to just acknowledge, yep, this world is pretty complex and we need to do a lot of skillful, masterful work to get ourselves into our bodies, into our minds, and connecting to our environment. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you so much for being here. And like I said, comment and let me know what you think of this basic orientation exercise. All right, so take a minute now, or a moment, I should say, and simply let yourself see what is around you. So take your eyes off of the computer screen, if that's what you're looking at right now, and just start to draw your attention to something else that is in your environment, in the room you're in, or if you're outside. And as you do that, actually focus on something that you see, an object that you might see. Maybe it's a book or a plant or a mirror or some flowers or a chair. Or maybe your own body. Maybe you see your own feet or your hands. So you're bringing your attention into the external environment. And as you do that, notice your breathing. And find out if the moment I mention your breathing, you change it. You may not have done that, but if you did, just be aware that you did that and see if you can just keep drawing your attention to that which is around you and notice your breath without changing it. And as you orient and as you look, actually find the movements of your head and neck. So by find, I mean pay attention to them. Feel as you look. So you might see one thing. You might see one object, and then actually consciously make the decision to then slowly, gently, this isn't back and forth, quickly looking. It's not that terrified kind of scanning for danger, kind of orienting. It's a very soft quality of moving the head, moving your eyes, and feeling the eyes search for the next thing. And then to see that thing and to see it for what it is. Now, as you're doing this, noticing your breath, tracking your breath, again, not changing it, just noticing it, start to begin to notice
how your body touches that which it is resting on. So for example, right now I'm sitting on a chair, kind of the edge of a chair with my pelvis, with my sits bones. I've got my feet on the floor. My right foot is a little more further ahead than my left. My hands are on my thighs, but they are moving as I speak. So feel into you right now. What is it that you touch? What is it that you are in contact with? Feel the pressures and see if there is a desire to shift anything, to move how you are resting. Are you on a chair that has a supported back? Are you on a sofa? Are you standing up? So depending on your different body positions, you're going to have different points of contact. So just sense, feel that pressure, feel the contact, and continue to be curious and interested in your surrounding environment. If we think about those animals in the wild that I've talked about, they may look up when they are startled with something to ensure that there is no danger anymore. Think of this kind of in that way, in that you are seeing around you what is around you, and that in actuality there isn't anything, I'm going to assume, coming at you right now, that you're not at risk for something flying towards you. Of course, if you're outside in a park and there's birds, then that might be a different story. But I'm going to assume you're inside somewhere where there's relative safety in your environment. And as you look around, see again a few pieces, so objects. See where your eyes get drawn to, what you notice about it. And then when you've finished looking at that one thing, to then go to the next thing. And also pay attention as you do this simultaneously to your breath, the contact of your body against the ground, your chair, the environment, and how your body might move with this as you do this. How do you move? So this little, very short exercise, it's a little taster into this element, this concept of the body, mind, environment connection. So by bringing in an awareness and attentiveness to the eyes seeing things, the head moving and scanning, you're moving high up in the spine. I'm asking you to have an attention on your breathing without changing it, but to notice it. So that's the second element that we're layering in. And then this quality of feeling the ground under you, the chair under you, whatever it is that you're up against, leaning against, standing on, sitting on. So there's this body awareness of where you are in space while orienting to that which is around you, noticing your breath. Very simple, but can be a very powerful piece to have in your back pocket when you just need to draw away from that which you are doing, whether it's working at your computer. I'll use that as an example. This has been about 8 minutes because I explained a little bit more. But if you were to take a quarter of this or an eighth of this to draw yourself away from that which you are working on throughout the day, little mini breaks, so many, to just do that quick orienting, noticing of the breath, bring yourself into your environment, into your body, contact with that which you are in connection with, it is a wonderful way to sort of pause and reset and drop the system, your nervous system, into a slightly different state of rest.